I suck at vlogging, but I wanted to capture the moment. I just landed in Austin, Texas yesterday, and we are going to Houston Tellson's University to do our not little baby, big. Everything's bigger in Texas. I'm in the top of my game. I'm who they hate. But no, we are going there to do our Be Authentic event for Building to Bloom, Be Well event. And I'm so excited. I'm gonna get to share about the Cre8 app. I can't believe we're launching in like a month. And this is like the beginning of like something amazing and huge and big. And I know I'm gonna be looking at these videos and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was X years ago, you know? Only the beginning. I'm very calm. I'm not nervous at all. You know, we haven't planned, but that's just us. It is what it is. But I am bringing you guys with us. So, yeah, I'm at Santa's house here in Texas. And this is my hair. This is my outfit. Simple. I still don't even know what I'm gonna say to these interview questions. But here goes nothing. Here goes nothing.
Tell the audience a little bit about your background and what inspired you to start the Cre8 app.
A little bit about my background. So, hi, for those who don't know me, I'm Jazelle. I come from Havana, Cuba. I was just there yesterday, literally. I was just telling them, I'm like, I've been in like 5 cities and 2 countries in the last 24 hours. Like I literally just flew
travel.
And then I moved here when I was 6, so that's been a minute. And then after that, like my grandfather was the first one to come to the States of our family, and he was living the American dream. He opened his own tire shop, and after he passed away about 5 years ago, I've been really like dabbling with like entrepreneurship because he was a serial entrepreneur. He loved to like start all the things, all the businesses. He tried to make a restaurant once. Didn't work out, but did he try? Sure, he did. So now that I'm like in my entrepreneurial world, I'm like, wow, is this how it feels? And I'm really liking it because I was a pre-med student before. So I was like, maybe medicine's not for me. So leaning into the Cre8 app, this idea actually came from my travels. So last year, for my birthday, I was in Egypt, and then I came back, and I forgot I had my friend's wedding. So, in Atlanta. So, I'm like, crap, I gotta book a flight. So I booked a flight to Atlanta, and we went to Athens, and I brought my vlogging camera, because I also do YouTube. And I was there, and she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for bringing your camera. Like, I couldn't afford a videographer. I could only afford a photographer. The videographer was gonna be like $5,000. She's like, I can't afford that. I'm like, girl, I got you. So that was actually my wedding gift. So I did like multiple videos for her, like of her guests and then of her bridesmaids behind the scenes. I did like content for social media as well as like YouTube videos. And she was like, oh my gosh, I love this, because it was very intimate, and I got to just follow everybody around, like to see like the real of what was happening in the wedding. Like one of the bridesmaids was, I have a video of her getting her toes down because one of hers chipped, and she was getting her makeup done, and like the bridesmaids on the floor, like trying to like figure out this toenail situation. But those like little moments is like what you want to see from your big day, not just like the production of like the fancy. So I was like, oh my gosh, it was fun, but I didn't really get to enjoy the wedding because I was the one behind the scenes getting all the content. So I was like, how cool would it be if there was an app that people can just like go and like find local content creators to come do their weddings, because it's literally just taking content on your phone. So I was like, oh my gosh, it should totally be a business. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really good idea. And then the wedding was in November, and then December it was coming. I was like, good idea. I was like, and I just kept hearing it in my mind. The Lord was like, this is a really good idea, and if you don't move on it, I'm gonna give it to someone else. So get with it. So then I was like, okay, but again, I'm from Cuba, I'm first generation. I'm just a girl, okay? I don't know anything about tech. I'm just a baby. I don't know anything about tech. And literally, I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just gonna go on Google, and I put like, oh, how can I find an app developer? Took me to this website, and I put like my information, and I went to bed because I had just come from work, and then I had like at least 20 calls the next day of like developers in the area, and then I almost got scammed for $5,000, but we made it through, and now the app is almost here. So yeah,
You reminded me of the book Big Magic. I don't know if you all are like Elizabeth Gilbert fans. She's one of my favorite authors, but she talks about that like you'll get a spark of genius, and if you don't act upon it, it moves. It's like a little fairy, and it's gonna go to somebody else's brain, and if they action it, like it's gone. So I'm glad that you like listened to that little fairy and you took action. So what gap or challenge were you aiming to address with Cre8?
I think one of the biggest ones was the gap between only the people that can afford it. I think because the idea came from the wedding, I feel like your wedding's such a special time, and it's not fair that only if you can spend 10 grand that you're gonna get pictures and videos of your special day. So I really wanted to close that gap of like, first, anybody can be a creator, anybody can create content, anybody can get amazing videos and pictures, because this is the age that we're in. You know, everybody wants to be a content creator, which they can.
Yeah, we got the technology.
Yeah, we literally have the technology on our phone. And then, of course, I think financial-wise, because the idea also came with, I was thinking of Uber when I came up with the idea, and I was like, with Uber, it's great, you know, it helps people make extra money, like, if you work for Uber even a couple of days, that can be your car payment. That could be half your rent, you know, something like that. But not everybody has a car. And you also have to pay for your own gas. And it takes a lot of time because you're out there driving around.
And it's liability.
Your insurance goes up, your wear and tear, your tires. So this is like, yeah, you're making money, but you're also losing money in the sense of like you're using all these things. So it's like, oh my gosh, like regular people and can do what they love because they love creating content anyways and get paid for it. And also, it was funny because I had this idea in my mind and I hadn't told anybody. I think I didn't even tell Zana. She was the first person I told, like, outside of, like, the developers and stuff.
I'm like, girl, you remember those? I was like, she's hiding something from me. It was like a marriage. I'm like, this girl's like cheating on me.
What is going on? And we had the event for Love Your Body. And, like, we had hired somebody. And it was like, oh, my gosh. Because it was, like, what, $75 per hour? And I was like, this is, and she's like, oh, well, this is the only person we know. And I was like, this is such a need. Like, people need this. Yeah. Because people are looking for content creators. And again, we got the footage back, and I was like, but it's okay. It's okay. But again, capitalism, you have options now. And that's what the app is bringing. It's bringing options. And like, if you do good work, the only way that you can get reviews on the app is if they use you through the app. So you can't get your mom to go on there and be like, she's such a good picture taker. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'd like to know like more about how you think it'll impact people's lives. So you kind of spoke to like the people seeking content creation, but there's also that aspect of the content creators actually getting paid, right?
Getting paid, yeah, and setting their own prices because it's set. You can set your own price of what you charge, but then also the person creating the event. Let's say I'm a public speaker and I just started, but I would love someone to come record me, and I can only afford $50 an hour. You can post your event and post what you're paying. It's like, hey, I can only afford $50 an hour, and then the local content creators can be like, hey, I'll do it. You know, they're getting paid and you're getting your content. So I wanted to really do it both ways. And also the app, as a content creator, it allows you to also hire other people. So let's say like I am the content creator, but hey, it's my wedding. I don't want to be filming. I don't want to be doing nothing. Or I'm the one speaking, like right now. We're putting y'all to work. If we had the app, we would just hire someone to get like the behind the scenes content of us just doing what we're doing.
Right.
You're
hitting it. It's like, how does it impact like professional lives and personal lives?
And I think as I started digging more into the business behind it and like putting my entrepreneur brain, I was like, oh my gosh, like anybody can use this, like business wise, especially small businesses. You know, you don't have thousands of dollars to spend on like a media team or anything like that, but you can have $50 extra or $100 extra a month to hire someone on the app. Let's say you have a restaurant, to be like, hey, can you come and take content of my restaurant so I can post on social media? Because small businesses are trying to show up on social media, but it's hard to be social media, the speaker, the personal brand, do the behind the scenes, do your own books. Like, it's a lot going on. So it's just a little extra help, a little Christmas help, Christmas spirit. Sprinkle. To come help everybody show up on social media, as well as small businesses or events. And everybody makes money, which I love. Because I'm like, yeah,
These people need to
these
get paid.
prices, people need to get paid. Okay? And again, it's such an easy thing to do because you're doing what you love. You're just creating content. And if you're getting paid like $100 an hour, which is easily you can charge if you have the newer iPhone or if you have a camera, you just need 3 hours, bam, $300, perfect. That's my car, and it was a good day. You only need $300 every day to make 6 figures. So I'm just saying.
Snap babies, look at that. Putting snaps over there. What's your long-term vision for Cre8?
Ooh, this was fun because I was thinking about this the other day. As you guys know, I love to travel. So the developer literally just texted me. He's like, hello, I need this subscription plan. And because at first I'm like, oh, free. We like free stuff because it's commission-based. But then he's like, babe, like, you have to think business-wise. And I was like, oh, okay. So long-term vision plan for like the pro like subscription plan, I would love to have like a benefits package. You know, like if you are part of like the pro creators. Not that name.
There's already an app that exists called Procreate. So it's trademarked.
But again, if you get like the premium package on the Cre8 app, you'll have like benefits. So it'll be fun. Like if you get like do collabs with like certain people and certain brands. I would love to do collabs with like small businesses. So it's like, hey, if you are a creator here, like you get 10% off at this small local shop, you know, like go make content or just more business for them, vice versa. And then like big dreams, I would love for like the Grammys or something like that to like hire creators on the app so they can go and like get flown out and like go create content on the red carpet or something. So I love it. Or like Drake's big party. Yes. Like
She's still hung up on Drake.
like, they will never make me hate you. OVO, gang. We gotta stay together.
So my final question is, how can we support you?
Support. Just showing up. Just like what you guys are doing right now. Showing up. Using the app for yourself, because I know every one of you has something that they got going on, whether it's modeling, whether it's books, whether it's friendom, whether it's
theater.
Yeah, like theater, all the other things. So just telling your friends and family, using the app when it launches, and like feedback. Like as a solopreneur, again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just out here winging it, but I know it takes a village, and I have a village, but I think I might need a professional village too. So like feedback, because this is like, I just been trying not to be super harsh on myself and be like, Jazelle, just get it out there. Even though it doesn't look like the way that I want it to look, it gets the job done. And then like get the feedback of like, hey Jazelle, love the idea, but this is trash. Let's change this. I'm like, oh, okay, so I can write that down. So feedback.
You can always evolve. Right?
Yes,
get the first draft out there.
Yes,
I love it.
And create a new creation.
I love it. Give it up for G. So fun. And our last section of the event tonight is to create, to bloom together, baby. And we've got prizes for you. So we have curated kind of, when we think of strategically creating content for our brands or for our personal brands or for our school's theater, right? It's super important to kind of go through what we deem kind of a strategic process to just be more intentional around it. Sometimes random stuff hits, as she can attest. Like one of the first viral videos that included my family and her.
Yes,
it was. You want to tell the story?
With the twins, and I think the twins are like maybe like 1.5, 2, and I'm taking my braids out. It's like white, blonde hair, blue eyes, right? And I'm like,
they're brown-eyed, okay? They got a little flavor.
Got a little flavor. But I'm over here taking my hair out while I'm babysitting, and the twins are just like, your hair is falling out. I'm like, no, honey, I'm just was singing my braids out. So they were like, oh. So I got like a little clip and I put like literally one braid in on each, and they were acting out. This is like, with the one piece of hair, and I had to like film a quick video real quick, and then like went viral on TikTok, and I was like, yep, those are my god kids. Those are my kids.
But sometimes it's like random moments, right, that you just see in the moment, oh, I should film this, right? But sometimes it's intentional and you ideate beforehand. And so my curiosity, and I'd like us both to answer, is like when it comes to ideation, when you're thinking about, oh, what do I post about, Cre8 or G is for Growth, your YouTube channel, or the Strong Sunflowers, our podcast, like where do you get your inspiration and where do you start the ideation process?
I think when we created even this event right now, I love that we have Brenda and Michael, because it all starts with like authenticity and who you are and connecting with yourself. Even social media, if you are trying to do whatever you're trying to do, if you don't connect, like it's not gonna work, because people can see that you're not being authentic from a mile away. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know who you are, how can you show in real life? How can you show up on the fake life, right? On social media and let people know, like, hey, I'm Jazelle and this is what I do. So that's very important, making sure that you're authentic to yourself and then showing up as that person, because everybody has their own thing, and I feel like where people get hung up is like, they're like, oh, okay, I like what she's doing, so I'm gonna copy that, and then, but people can see that you're copying, you know what I mean? So it's not coming from an authentic place. So I think for me, that's one. So if you have a personal brand, Strong Sunflowers, G is for Growth, any of that, knowing that part, and then creating content makes it so much easier, because you can grab any brand or any trend going on and make it on brand. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even if it's wicked, if it's whatever it is, you can make it on brand with what you got. Yeah. But yes, that's where I get like ideation from, just like my own personal life, knowing like who I am, and then being like, oh, I like this. So, and then making it.
And I'm very much like an auditory processor, and so being able to like ideate with a person, there's been so many moments where I'm like, this thing happened. And my personal brand is called Casa Carby, which is more focused on like my family life. And I was telling her about this trip in California where we went to the beach, and kids, I'm looking at you, Lo. You kind of expect mom to kind of pick the things up that you leave behind. And I'm ADHD. I don't even know where I put my keys. Like, I forget things everywhere. So that combination is often a disaster. So we get to California. We knew that we wanted to go to the beach and then immediately back to Disney. And we went, watched the sunset, get back in the car, go to Disney. The girls, the twins, ended up falling asleep, so they didn't go. And so we didn't realize till the next morning when we were flying out that Roma, one of my little babies, left her shoes on the beach. And so we get to the airport and she's just barefoot and like nothing's open. It's like 2 a.m. I'm like, Jazelle, can you she has a whole photo album called Whose Kids Are These? And she's like, this is going in the album. But then she's like, girl, you should film her and that little trend that's going around, like, I think I like this little life. And I was like, that's a good idea, I'll do it. And it got like 100,000 views. So like you just never know like where that ideation can come from, and often it's telling your story to your friends, to people that know your heart, that can kind of strike an idea. And so that's what's worked for me. It's Jazelle's brain and my family.
And Monica.
Oh, Monica's a whole other story.
And then she doesn't do social media, but she's the creator, like behind it. She's like, yeah, you should post that. Yeah, you should do that. Oh my gosh, the big one that she did was like about 2 years ago. I got fired from my job. I was like, you should do a video with this sound, and it was blowing up. Till this day, I still get tagged. Like, people took it from TikTok, and it's like all over Facebook.
She deleted said video, so know that.
So it's all over the place. And yeah, it was me filming in my restaurant where I worked, and it was like, this is such good Italian food. I wonder which Italian man made this. And they were all like from Guatemala and Mexico. So yeah, it's viral.
Still chasing you to this day. But you needed to lose that job. So
yeah, I did.
What about finding the content or shooting the content? Like what's your process for that?
Finding the content, shooting the content. I think for me, I need to get better with like a set list when it comes to like
the shot list.
But if we're thinking, so I do YouTube. So each social media, whichever you guys want to be on, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they all have their own little thing. For me, for YouTube is having the idea and then writing down like my bullet points of like what I want to talk about and then riffing off. Again, with like real life stories, with just crap that happens to me, and then going off like the idea. So G is for growth is all about personal development. So if I'm talking about a relationship, I'll talk about my marriage and getting married really young and like what I learned from that and going through my divorce and my 4-year situationship. Someone just messaged me.
Wasn't with me.
So we're still happily married.
I'm your mother, wife.
My mother, wife, sister, all of the above. Yeah, someone stopped us and they're like, "Are you guys together?" And then we went to Walmart, and then the lady was like, "Is that your mom?" I was like, "Dang!" We're giving off a lot of energy. But yeah, with that, just like bullet points, and then I sit in front of the camera and then I just talk.
Then with Strung Sunflowers, it's like we tend to have like content pillars that we work through. And sometimes that's great, right? Like visually, there's consistency, but sometimes you need that, like, you know, random stuff that you just found in your camera from 5 years ago, right? And so we kind of spice it up. I feel like with Strung Sunflowers, there's really curated, professional, like branding content, and then random reels, and then like clips from the podcast. And so it really depends on, again, like what channel you're looking to kind of curate content for. But often I've found that like, have you heard that saying where it's like that $1 million video is already in your phone? Like you just need to use what you already have. And I have like 100,000 photos on my phone. It's a problem.
It's a problem.
So I'm like, I know. So he's like, you need to.
You can ask us.
Is it a theater kid thing? Like, what's wrong with
I
us?
have so many photos.
Like I don't know why I don't delete my photos.
I'm like,
okay, you're with me. You're guessing. Okay.
I don't know. It's a lot because I
It's
can be
bad.
like, Santa, can you get that picture from like 2017 where we met? She's like, yes, I have it. Me and Tito with the striped shirt. Yeah, I have it right here.
Well, and with Apple Intelligence, I know you're hating on it, but literally, my mom's birthday was yesterday, and I knew that I wanted to post this very specific picture of us like getting this little glamour shot, and I was like holding a little baby, and I typed in my phone like woman with 3 kids, little girl holding baby doll. Boop! It popped right up, like yeah, it was like. Pop! I was like, yes! So who cares if there's 100,000? I got an Apple Intelligence to just
There you go.
Find them out. That's really smart.
I know.
That's really good.
It is good.
Yeah, because I hate scrolling and then trying to find them.
You won't find them scrolling, okay? What about editing? What's your favorite way to edit?
I'm cheap, so I use what I got. I love Instagram editing for Reels just because it's simple. And again, I know a lot of people are using like the fancy stuff. You can use CapCut if you want to add more things. But again, most of the viral videos are literally simple. You don't need all the extra fancy stuff. I mean, you can have them if you want. But yeah, I really like Instagram for editing. I don't really like YouTube, like shorts. So I usually copy or do them on Instagram, save, and then put them on TikTok and YouTube. And then for my YouTube videos, I still use iMovie. And people ask me all the time. I'm like, babe, it's just iMovie. It's free.
So easy.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yeah, and Instagram, have any of y'all used their templates before? Yeah, there's wonderful templates. Like if you're like, ooh, Reels, ooh. They have a lot of just already like trending audio, and like the transitions are already kind of set to the music. And so that's kind of my go-to every time that I start to edit. What about your copywriting? The whole, you know, the SEO, the hashtags.
Oh, I'm like, that is built into Bloom Media.
Like, use Chad. Tell them about Chad.
I use Chad sometimes, but I don't know what I'd be doing with Chad.
She calls ChatGPT Chad. Chad. That's what she thought that I was saying. Chad.
Chad.
He's a man. He's a man named Chad that does all of our dirty work.
Yes, I'm like, Chad, how do I do this? Because spelling English is not my first language. So I do try with the SEO and like, but I just be winging it out here, to be honest. So when we make it, I'm like, how did you get here? I have no idea.
Chad GPT.
Chad GPT, and just, you know, keep posting. Because you never know which one's going to be that video that's going to get the 10 million views.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think one thing, as we were talking through this morning, that you brought up is the authenticity piece. And I always think of the event that we did this summer, and we were writing like the Luma copywriting, and Winnie's first thing was like, "You all used Chad, didn't you?" She's like, "I can tell you need a little less robot speak, right? So like, let the robot do the thing. Like, let it get you that first draft, but go back in and personalize it so it doesn't sound super fake and inauthentic."
Yeah, because when we're talking from the beginning, if you have like a personal brand or your tone of like the Strong Sunflowers podcast or whatever you have, the tone matters, you know? Because they'll know if it's Chad. It's like,
spot Chad from a mile away.
Chad.
Sniff him out.
So even though you use him, make sure that you still make it like whichever brand you're trying to be on.
I love it. And last but not least, collaborating, right? Posting, I think something that's really helped me is I've been like working with brands like Friendom or NetDo, if any of you have heard of Natalie from Dexter's brands, You Are Magic Media, Heather Haycock. Those are some of like clients and friends that I've worked with in the past. And often as they're trying to grow their following, it's about collaborating literally on Instagram so that it touches and gets to different accounts. And so that leads us into our challenge today. So we want you to take the content that you filmed. Feel free to collaborate with other people, share videos, do things, but whoever has the reel with the highest amount of views and or engagement, that will be the tiebreaker. So comments, likes, you all can lean on each other. You will win a Kendra Scott piece of jewelry and some tickets to the Austin Zoo. So, any questions before we start creating together?
Who's coming in second?
There is no second. Whoever gets first can decide to give some tickets to you if they want to. But the first place gets the whole shebang. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Any questions?
Yes.
Winnie's like,
Okay.
What are we doing?
I'm going back to the Cre8 app.
Okay.
So this may be a feature request for the future,
Ooh.
or it may be something that you're already doing. So when I was thinking or listening to you talk about your app, I was also thinking about Turo. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with Turo. It's
a car, right? Like
it's for cars,
yeah.
not quite Airbnb, but you upload the photos right into that system, and Fiverr as well. So you know Fiverr,
yeah.
all the work that they do is delivered through that platform. So that way, if somebody goes, I didn't like what they did, they didn't give me what I want, then the developers or the owners or the people managing the system can go in and say, well, it actually looks like they gave you what you asked for, and now you were asking for more, or maybe you just wanted a refund and you're trying to play the system. So do you have any plans to put in a feature, or do you have a feature where all your content creators, they deliver their work through the app?
So delivering work through the app costs money because that means that the app needs to have enough space for all the creators to be able to put their content on there.
Yeah.
So that's big money. So the loop around for beginners that I've done is, so when you're using the app, let's say you hired me, I did the job, I showed up, I'm done with the job, I'm done with the job. For me to get paid, so if you hired me, you get charged at the beginning. But I don't get paid. I hold it in the system. So the creator, which is me, will hold it in the system until the job is done. The creator says, hey, I finished the job. And then you say, hey, like, I got the job, which you guys have, like, I think it's like 24 hours for both of you to say, hey, I got what I needed. When you go to look for a content creator, you can see it on their profile that they have made, the way that they're going to deliver your pictures. So if I'm taking pictures with my iPhone, I can airdrop them to you right there, like after the event. But if I'm doing like Dropbox, then that might be a little after. But again, the content creator will not get paid until they deliver. And then you say, hey, I got my stuff. The tiebreaker that I have right now is multiple ways. So let's say like you hired me, but let's say the event got canceled. But you have it was canceled in the 24 hours, like you would only get a 50% refund because it wouldn't be fair for the content creator that took the time off to be there for your event. They still need to get paid, but I understand that your event got canceled, so you're not going to pay the full price. So they're still getting paid, you're getting paid half, and vice versa. Again, that would be the same scenario for let's say I go to the job and I do the job, I hit done, but then on your side, you're like, I got the stuff and I really hate it. Like, you didn't even wipe the lens. I'm pissed, you know? So then in that, it would also be a 50% because at the end of the day, the content creators showed up and took their time to do the content. But again, you weren't really happy with the content, so you would only pay half. So you would still get paid, but you would only get paid less. Like I said before, the only way that you can get reviews on the app is if we work together. And then if you're unhappy, which you have to leave a review. It's mandatory. So at the end of each interaction, you have to leave a review. So if your review is like, hey, the pictures were trash, you didn't even wipe the lens, like 2 stars. Yeah, that doesn't look good on you, you know what I mean? And then the app also has, like, because people were asking me, it's like, oh, how are you going to vent it out? Again, venting takes money. So the way that I set it up is if you have like 3 back-to-back, like 3 stars or below or 4 stars or below, like you can get like kicked out of the app because why are you here if you're only getting 1 star? That means you're not doing good work, you know? So those are like the little things that I set up in place. And the cheaper version, so like when the big one comes, then like things like that would be easier because again, the goal, business minded, is you want to keep people on the app. You don't want people to go outside the app. Yeah. Kind of like with Uber. I know sometimes like you're in an Uber and they'll be like, hey, there's my phone number if you need a ride. But some people do it and some people are like, oh, whatever, I forgot, lost it. You know, because it's not like safe. Like if you're like in another country, they do it all the time. Just because they're trying to get paid under the table and all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, those are my little hacks. Yes. I love it.
How do you keep the people requesting creators accountable if they're just giving out 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars, and that's all that they do?
I think the people doing the business, like they wanted a content creator.
They're wanting a content creator,
and every time they get one, they keep giving 1 star.
Yeah, they never give a 4 star or 5 star. They're constantly giving low reviews, despite the quality being either at or above expectations. How do you hold those folks accountable?
Right now, I don't really have a system for that because I'm the eyes, so I'll be able to see everything that goes on the app. I mean, I think it would be like a conversation, not a conversation, but like a reach out through like as the robot or tech person that is also me. But getting to that, yes, it would be a conversation of like, hey, because it's the same way. It would be like, hey, if the app is not working for you, like, go find another home, honey, because this is not it for you. Because I'm trying to make it as fair for both sides as possible, because I know sometimes they're just really picky and you still did your job, and I don't want you to get affected on the app on like your rating, because the higher your rating, the more you get pushed. The lower your rating, because that's another thing.
Get hidden
to
the depths of the
yeah,
app.
because that's another thing. I want it to be based off like people's work, and I didn't want it to be based off like, oh, I have 100,000 like followers, so I get all the money. You know, it's like there's someone that doesn't even have a Instagram that does amazing work. You know what I mean? So I dig it. But yeah.
Maybe another feature request too.
Yeah.
So maybe think of in the future when you're able to doing the 2-way review system, kind of like Airbnb, where you don't get to read the review that somebody's given you until you've given them a review as well, and vice versa. You know, so that way we know it's 2-way, so we know what's really happening. If it was really crappy and the team was, what was that, Bridezilla style, you know, and they're like making all these demands that are unrealistic and expecting you to do things that you're not supposed to do, and then getting mad that you didn't, you know, get all this other stuff, at least being able to put that in the app. And then maybe considering like ways to not hide the people who are starting off and doing poorly too, because that might work in the opposite favor when we speak in terms of like equity and things like that nature. So
Love it.
if you ever need feature requests,
Yay! She needs to be a QA, okay?
right?
Quality, baby.
Quality,
I'm here
quality
for it.
control.
Yeah, but as you were talking, it reminded me of, remember Jax Brennan? She was on our podcast this season, and she talked about Canva. Do you all know what Canva started as? What its first edition was? A yearbook maker in Australia.
Wow.
Her whole goal was to make the process of making yearbooks a better experience for schools. And then it evolved to what it is now. And now it's $1 billion business, right? So I think just having the courage to try and getting that first, what Brene Brown, you know, there's children around. So a shizzy first draft is the first step. And I think it's like really honorable and exciting that you had the courage to like listen to the little fairy and execute, even if it meant like stretching yourself really thin financially and stressing out and losing hair and staying up at night and so
It's a little bald spot.
way to have courage, queen.
And also, like, I'm so excited for like what could be like to come, because there's so many features. Because I would love to also do like an editing feature, because right now it's just delivery, so you just have to take the content and deliver, so you're not editing anything. But if you want to edit, like I want on the next version of the app, just be able to like you can add it or not add it if you want, but the creator can be like, for $100 I'll edit 8 videos for you, or like 8 reels. Reels. So that kind of style. So then it's like an option, but you don't have to, but if you want to.
Add-ons, baby.
Add-ons.
Okay, I got a question because I know you're gonna succeed because you're you. So what's your buyout price?
My what? Oh,
Your buyout price. Your sell price.
I really would not like to sell at the beginning, because that's why I've been like this solopreneur and like really, you guys know I love to travel, and I'm like, I've only been to three places this year. Like, ew. But I really wanted to start it off on my own and not get like capital investors or anything like that. Even though like I feel like it's gonna be huge, you know, like, but at the beginning I wanted to like get it started in the works, and then moving forward have like equity and like sell things like that. So when we go public, to sell it like that. And then one of the things, because I feel like the mind has to do a shift. I've been listening to a lot of like Alex Hormozy and Layla Hormozy, love them. But they're all like business minded and stuff. And then they were talking about like sometimes not having the whole pie, you can still have a bigger piece of the pie. You know, like Amazon, for example. I think he owns like 15% of Amazon now. He's still one of the most
He's one of the
rich men
richest
in the world. Tesla, I think Elon Musk only owns 20% now. You know, still one. I think he is the one. I don't know. He's like at $300 billion something in dollars. You know, just him. Not, you know. So keeping that in mind too, of like, yes, right now it's like my baby and I want to like hold it, but like moving forward, it's like, okay, like I can have a small pie, or I can have a huge slice, like New York size, Chicago size, but have one slice of the pie. So right now, I don't want to sell out just because it's so early, and I still want to make sure that it's like the vision, like, what's the word? Ethically, it's still there of like what I'm trying to create. But after that, then we'll talk.
Shark Tank.
After
I can
that,
already
we'll
see
talk.
you. Mark Cuban or whatever. I love it. Well, are you all ready to create? And the only caveats are that you have to tag the Strong Sunflowers, the Cre8 App, Building to Bloom Media, and Friendem, and yourself. Those are your 5, okay? And may the odds ever be in your favor.